So I saw something just now while I was eating dinner in front of my computer watching the news, which is not probably a good idea, but I saw something that absolutely made my blood boil, and I mean boil. And I saw that scene that a lot of people have seen already of the girl in the United Kingdom. I think she was Scottish because she had that Scottish accent. And she had a knife and an axe. And the story is, and you could see it in the video, is that these two girls were trying to defend themselves against a man that's probably Muslim, and because I believe that was in the writing that I saw there, and you can hear it in his accent too. So they were defending themselves because this guy was approaching them aggressively, I guess, and she felt so threatened that she had to have a knife and an axe. This is not the first time this has happened, obviously. I mean, that's why they have these weapons. It's not the first time this has happened. And it made my blood absolutely boil. I couldn't believe this crap. I mean, I know things are bad in Europe, and we talk about the incidences of sexual abuse in Germany and Austria, in France and England, but it's so bad that like kids expect to have to face these people, and they grab weapons, and of course, knowing how these governments are, they arrested the kid because the kid didn't want to be a victim. So in the UK, and I would imagine this is probably the case in most of Europe, is you can't even defend yourself. It's illegal to defend yourself in Europe. This is absolutely insane. I can't believe, how could you let things get this bad in Europe, where a 12 and a 14-year-old girl have to carry weapons because they know what to expect out there. They can't go outside unless they have weapons in the daytime, mind you. This isn't in the middle of the night in a bad neighborhood. This is in the daytime, and it looked like they were sort of on a playground or some kind of park. And this guy approaches them. I mean, obviously they're underage. I mean, if you were talking about maybe a girl in her later teens that looked like an adult, then I can understand that there might be a misunderstanding or something like that. But we're talking about, girls that are obviously like physically not developed. Like you could tell that they're kids, and what business is a guy, approaching girls that are that young? I mean, I that just absolutely blows my mind. I mean, common sense would dictate, and I'm certain that the police here in the United States would look at the situation and say, okay, because they know that there's some context here. There's a guy that's approaching these two girls that are like in middle school age, approaching them, and these girls, and what's going on in this neighborhood. This is not the first time this has happened. You would have police presence all over the place. You would have guys walking all over the place. I was in a neighborhood, this is some years back, and there was a suspicious guy walking around. And that neighborhood, there were guys with baseball bats walking out in the street looking to beat the crap out of this dude because one of the women complained. Now, again, sometimes there's some misunderstanding with that, and you got to be very careful because people, especially here in Florida and other parts of the country, are armed. I mean, most people are armed. So you got to be really careful about situations like that. And I'm not saying that that violence is certainly not ideal. But imagine being in such a situation that a 12 and a 14-year-old girl in the middle of the daytime in a public park have to carry melee weapons with them because they're afraid of men that are trying to victimize them, trying to make them into victims. This is unbelievable. I think that this video, this is already spreading. It's going viral, and people in England, they're already pretty upset with their government. I think this is going to put gasoline on the fire, and maybe this is, I would say, maybe a good thing. Unfortunately, like I said, the girl was arrested. The girl's in jail because of this, because she didn't want to be a victim. She didn't want to be a victim of this type of violence. And so the police arrested the girl. And I mean, forget about the context, forgetting about trying to protect the people. You know, it's arresting her because she wanted to defend herself. And yeah, this is going to put gasoline on the fire. This is going to, I think the important thing is people, yes, they can be angry, but they need to keep a level head and they need to focus their anger and they need to look at the political levers in their system and they need to fix it accordingly. Okay, so we need to talk about recalling the politicians. You need to put pressure on your government, a lot of pressure on your government. And I don't mean by rioting or anything like that. People need to be, the people who are complicit in facilitating this problem, I'm talking about the people on the far left, they need to be held accountable. They need to be talked down to. They need to be argued with. And the government, there needs to be a change. You need to put forth a candidate that's going to bring that change and do it immediately. This is a very dangerous situation, and it's Starmer needs to step down. And I don't know who your new candidate is. I don't think it's going to be Nigel Farage, unfortunately. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe you can run Tommy Robinson. He's got good name recognition. He's articulate, and he's with the British working class. I would like to see somebody like him get involved, and then not just that, but like create your own party and take over the government. I mean, I don't know what to do about in this situation. I mean, you guys are not armed. It's not like the United States. Here, everybody's got guns. Now, granted, the government has a lot more guns than the average person does here. But, you know, Americans are armed enough where the government's like, you know, and especially, like I said, in some parts of the country, they're like, okay, we don't really want to mess with the population too much because it's like their own parallel military that's there. But you don't have that in England. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad.